Hello, fellow students of our graduating class of 2015. We did it, guys. After 4 whole years of being here at St. Edmund Campion, we're finally at the end of it all. I do hope that you all enjoyed it as much as I did, but what I really hope is that you all are ready for and looking forward to what life and what God has in store for us now. I want to introduce you guys to a word, and that word is telos. Telos is a Greek word meaning purpose. It's a philosophy used most notably by Greek philosopher Aristotle, and it's all about looking at the end purpose and intent of an object, whether natural, which includes people, or artificial. I myself am off to Ryerson University to study sport media, as my dream is to become a sports anchor, sports journalist, and sports analyst. I feel as though this is my purpose in life, to go out and do what I love and inspire young girls like myself who want to break the stereotype that females know nothing about sports. Just like myself, I know the students of this class will go on to do absolutely amazing things. Future doctors, lawyers, scientists, and professional athletes, just to name a few. I truly do have faith that you all will go on to be successful individuals that can and will change this world that we live in, as well as inspire others. This, my friends, is your purpose in life. Even if you do not know currently exactly what that purpose in life is, please do not think of your life as futile. Try to accept the solution to this absurdity of life, proposed by French philosopher Albert Camus. When we think of our lives as futile, it's almost impossible for us to be happy, because we constantly are thinking that anything we do is pointless. He proposes that we revolt against the apparent pointlessness of life, accept our condition as limited as it is, and find happiness. What he is basically saying is that even if our lives may seem pointless, we have to understand that we as humans are limited. We may not always live up to what we or what someone else has planned for us, and when we accept this, it will allow for us to be happy. What we might have planned for ourselves may not be what God has planned for us. We need to understand that. Once we understand this, we can move on in life and continue to believe that we do indeed have a purpose, and we can then work to find it. As we do venture off into the real world, my fellow classmates, I ask of you to please remember to always keep your minds open. Entering the world with a closed-minded mentality is one of the worst things that you could do for yourself. The great Greek philosopher Socrates once said, "I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing." What this is saying is that when we accept that we are ignorant to certain things in life, it allows us to be fully willing and able. Without this mindset, we will go on thinking that we know much more than we actually do. This in turn will only cause us to suffer. Now, speaking of suffering, I realize that in this lifetime, almost, if not every human being will endure some type of suffering at some point in time. People often wonder why God allows us to suffer, not acknowledging the fact that a lot of the suffering that we go through is self-caused. I don't believe that suffering will ever be eliminated from this world, because naturally we need suffering. When we suffer, it builds up our ability to take the good out of it. Suffering allows us to become stronger as human beings, because when we go through stressful, traumatic, hurtful situations, and much more situations in the same nature, it teaches us how to react if we are ever to go through such situations again. Take the simple example of a young child touching a hot stove and burning themselves. This will obviously cause them some sort of pain, and because they now know the pain that it can cause, they more than likely won't do it again. Unless, of course, they are one of those weird people that like pain, then that's a whole different story. What I'm trying to say is, through most forms of suffering, a lesson can be taken from going through it. Suffering is a way to make us stronger. Although I do not believe human suffering can be completely eliminated, I do believe, however, that it can be greatly reduced. As I mentioned before, some people may not understand that a lot of suffering we go through is self-caused. And if we refrain from doing certain things, we can eliminate unnecessary suffering and increase our overall happiness. We learn that God should not be questioned, for he is the ultimate ruler and he is all-powerful, an unmoved mover. Instead of immediately placing the blame on God or someone else, we need to first take a look in the mirror and recognize our own faults. You see, my friends, that's the problem that many of us seem to have. Oftentimes, when things go wrong, we find ourselves putting blame on any and everything other than ourselves when we go through suffering. It stems from the idea that we as humans naturally want to do injustices unto others, however, we do not want injustices done unto us. We try to completely eliminate the idea of us committing injustices, even in regards to ourselves. It is much easier that way to search for someone or something to put the blame on in our time of suffering instead of looking at the reality and realizing that we ourselves may be the very cause of our discomfort. I feel as though once we start taking responsibility for our own actions, not only can it cut down our suffering, but it can also help to open the door to happiness. Overall, the point I'm trying to make with this idea is that once we swallow our pride and get rid of the mentality that we as individuals can do nothing wrong, we'll then be able to find happiness in a much easier way. According to Aristotle, happiness is the final cause. We are all on a quest to find this happiness, and once we do achieve genuine happiness, the quest will then be completed. The main purpose of my speech to you all is to help inspire you to live your lives in a way to ensure that true happiness comes your way. Once we leave this fine institution called Campion, everything that we know becomes the past. There's a whole other world out there that we truly do not know anything about. Plato's myth of the cave sort of represents us in that sense. A group of men are held as prisoners in a cave, which can be looked at as equivalent to us here in high school. One of the men is then freed and spends time in the real world that he knew nothing about, because all that he did know was his life in the cave. In comparison to ourselves, we the grade 12s are that one prisoner about to be freed into reality. Taken away from the life we know in high school and faced with the truth of the world. There are no actual ways for us to understand the real world other than for us to actually go out and live in it. But I do hope that with my words here today, I can help mentally prepare you all for what we're about to endure. The beginning of our lives is now, my fellow classmates. I hope for you all to be successful and happy in life. I pray that you watch out for me. I pray to be successful myself. I hope you all see me on ESPN one day. And I also hope to see you guys in the Olympics, finding a cure for cancer, going to the moon, winning the Super Bowl or Larry O'Brien Trophy or the Stanley Cup or the World Series, winning court cases, being CEO of a company, etc. I know for a fact that these are all possibilities with you guys. I believe in you. Believe it or not, I love you all. And I want to say congratulations again on graduating. Thank you, class of 2015.